Okay, hi everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Jennifer Crowley, and I'm founder of the Life Care Management Institute. And I have a very special person with me today, Michelle Podlesni. And Michelle has a plethora of an experience that she's going to share with us today. But before I dig into some questions for her, I want to give you her background so you can get to know her. Michelle Podlesni is a registered nurse and author of Unconventional Nurse, Going from Burnout to Bliss. She is also president of the National Nurses and Business Association and CEO of the Bloom Service Group. She is an accomplished businesswoman, U.S. Navy veteran, and nurse with over 35 years experience ranging from clinical care, case management, healthcare information technology, to nationally known speaker, best-selling author, and serial nurse entrepreneur. Michelle has a proven track record of leadership, success, and executive management of startups and established multi-million-dollar software as a service companies serving Fortune 500 clients. Real world experience from the bedside to the boardroom and beyond, Michelle's true passion for mentoring and helping others succeed in business has made her a sought-after business coach, speaker, and consultant. Michelle is a widely recognized and respected authority in business and speaks nationally on the empowerment of nurses through entrepreneurship. Established in 1985, the National Nurses and Business Association is the premier nursing organization of nurse entrepreneurship and is dedicated to advancing nurses' role in business. The NNBA provides nurses with business education, strategies, best practices in combination with an extensive network of colleagues and resources helping nurses navigate the journey to entrepreneurial success. The NNBA has assisted thousands of nurses to launch, build, and manage their own business. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what's upcoming for the NNBA as we go through the interview. But Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, Jennifer. It's great.
That's awesome. I'm so thankful. I feel like you're a celebrity in many ways to me, and you've been instrumental in my whole experience in my entrepreneurial journey, and it just keeps going and going. But I want to talk to you a little bit more about the nitty-gritty of some things and get your perspective. You
Sure.
do a lot to empower nurses, and these are impressive times for nurses. Really, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. Exciting times for nurses who may wish to change things up a bit or add to their portfolio of professional services.
It's
You
true.
often talk about having a plan B.
Mhm.
How can you explain that? Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, definitely. Today, more than ever, nurses need a plan B and maybe a plan B through Z. And what I mean by that is, plan A is what we all aspire to, what we think we're going to do with our nursing, and we start out, and most of us in a traditional type setting. So that's our plan A. But plan A, it's not serving us anymore. It's not serving the person that we've become. So there's a lot of different options out there. And so plan B is getting nurses to recognize how they can leverage and monetize their nursing experience and so many different options that are out there today. So that's the plan B is, okay, keep plan B in mind while you're doing plan A, because there are many nurses that I've worked with, that I've talked to over many years that didn't realize, oh, I should have been working on plan B. Why didn't I do this sooner?
Right. And so I feel like it's okay too to tell nurses that you don't have to stay, you want to stay in this totally safe comfort zone, but we have to kind of look at the possibilities and capitalizing, like you said, on our knowledge, our skills, and our experience. I
Well,
myself, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, it catches nurses off guard many times. Hospitals really don't do a good job of these different ascending levels of clinical nursing. And when there are, many times they're not there aren't enough, it's kind of restricted. So not only are you restricted in the amount of ascending levels there are in a traditional setting, you're restricted financially as well.
I agree. I spend a lot of time just trying to keep myself from dreaming all the time, because once you find that you like that entrepreneurial mindset, it's hard sometimes to keep yourself from going into the next great idea. You look at your own experience and your skill set, and you want to keep applying that in areas of business, especially once you're in that business mode. But I'm already in a successful business, but I still get dreamy, and I think of that plan B, and what if this doesn't continue to work for me? Where will I build my revenue? Where can I serve as well? I'm entrepreneurial by nature. There's so much happening for nurses in business, and it might be overwhelming for someone that has just strictly been in nursing. Most of us have, and we weren't given business skills or kind of think in this way, right? To think entrepreneurial. But
Right.
what is your own prediction and forecast for nurses in business?
Only that there's going to be more of them. The situation that's out there, and especially when I wrote my book, Unconventional Nurse Going from Burnout to Bliss, at the time when I wrote it, and it was published now 13 years ago. Um, when I wrote it, 33% of nurses were in a situation that they described as being burned out. Um, so the things that were affecting nurses back then, so that was 2013, are only more so, and definitely more so since post-pandemic of what's going on. So let's say that nurses are frustrated. They're frustrated by different things administratively and some of the bureaucracy that they deal with. They're overworked. They're overwhelmed. They're just highly dissatisfied. So that was 33%. Today, it's going up to towards 50%. Again, a lot of that increase is natural over that period of time, but the pandemic really heightened nurses' reset and repriority of what's important in their lives. So a lot more nurses are looking. So when you ask me to forecast the future, I just think more nurses in business, more nurse entrepreneurs out there.
Right. It's probably hard to believe that that book was written back in 2013 and we're already talking about it. All this time has passed, but it's still relevant today. And
Oh, it's extremely relevant. I wrote the book on the strategies and principles that worked. I really didn't put a lot of information in the book that would be dated or problematic. Like I said, the only thing is that we missed the 2020 80% BSN to RN to BSN model that they were looking at from the Robert Wood Foundation. So we missed that statistic. And the other thing is that it was 33%, and now burnout is, dissatisfaction, frustration, etc., is only increased throughout the nursing profession right now.
Okay, well, I just for everyone that's watching this video or listening, the book that you did author and published in 2013 is called Unconventional Nurse: Going from Burnout to Bliss. And so, like you're saying, it's providing some practical tips and advice, helping nurses look at the possibilities for and actually have kind of a method, right, to creating a business of their own.
Well, exactly. And what the book was written for at the time was not just nurses that are practicing entrepreneurship or nurses in the hospital. It's irregardless of setting, the strategies were good. So it was for nurses to be able to either advance or reinvent their careers. And again, using different strategies, such as the very first chapter is the entrepreneurial mindset. And that has to do irregardless of where you're practicing your nursing.
Right. Oh, I love this. And I think a lot of nurses are very interested in what you have to say, but also what you might offer to help them get started, including the book we just talked about. You have a big event coming up in July in Orlando, the annual conference for the National Nurses in Business Association. The NNBA annual conference is truly one of the best conferences for anyone interested in getting started or growing their business or just continuing to network. I know I have enjoyed the camaraderie, learning about what's on the horizon for nurses in business. I love connecting with other like-minded professionals and finding the appropriate business resources and support for my endeavors. Like I said, I'm in a successful business, but I'm always thinking of how I can improve. What other services might I be able to offer that are, would help my community and help me grow and build revenue? And it's so exciting to go to the National Nurses in Business Conference every year because it's like you can feel the energy. And it's like, even if you're not interested in one certain, maybe an exhibitor's there that's, specializing in foot care or aesthetics, skincare or something like that, if you still learn from each other. And
Oh, it's
because
amazing.
the business is the business, and we're,
That's
oh,
true.
yeah,
And there's such a variety. I mean, I'm really excited. You talked about the exhibitors, and I'm really excited that you're exhibiting this
yeah.
year. So that's wonderful. Because your book is so fantastic. I have to say, I really think it's incredible. And the program that you've got out there with Life Care Management Institute is just very, very good. But we have a lot of other exhibitors this year that I'm excited about.
Oh, good.
And what happens is this. So let me just give a couple of examples.
Yeah.
Ivy Academy is going to be there this year, which
Okay.
teaches nurses
Huge.
how to set up infusion therapy businesses.
Ivy clinics.
We've got the Foot and Nail Institute that not only, I think this is a good example of what you were talking about. You have a business that's successful, but you look at what are some other things I can do. So I think to myself about the multitude of home care businesses and elder care businesses that could add a vertical of the foot care business into their services. That would be fantastic. So that's kind of where people that have a business that's successful, they look at some of these exhibitors. So we have the elder care market, we have different coaching companies, we have 3, I think, different education companies that are going to be there with different certifications and training. So there's just, I'm trying to think what else we've got going out there. We've got different companies that help nurse entrepreneurs in different stages out there. So I'm really excited about that. And let's see, who else is going to be? What do you call it? Social media and different ways nurses can get their message more across and delivered, and sales and marketing help, which nurses, as you said, we're not naturally business minded, but that's one of the things about this conference. It really is for business minded nurses and for nurses interested in entrepreneurship and existing nurse entrepreneurs to see what they can do. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about all the different exhibitors this year.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be there. The conference is July 25th to the 27th in Orlando, Florida. And you can go to the website nursesbusiness.org and
no, .com.
.com, sorry.
That's all right.
Don't worry, I was going to have you tell us at the end here how to contact you. So nursesbusiness.com, and find out. The information will be right there present on the website of how to get to the conference. And Michelle, maybe at the end here, you can share a little more information as well of how anyone can reach you. But it's really wonderful. And just even the National Nurses in Business without the conference is actually has a number of resources for anybody that's interested in starting in their nurse business entrepreneurial journey. And so let's go ahead and keep talking, shall we? I have another question here I want to talk to you about.
Sure.
This is really as we talk about going into business, it can be kind of stressful, right? It can,
Mhm.
owning and operating a nurse-owned business can be difficult at times, even though there's so many rewards to it. Sometimes our work can actually drain us if we're not careful. So, as a business leader yourself, what are some of the ways you've learned to take care of yourself? And do you have any advice or tips for how nurses in business can stay on top of their game? I know it's kind of a big open
That's a
question,
big
but
question. We're
this
talking
is
some self-care, but then we're saying top of our game. We're going in a couple of different directions, but I'll be happy to talk about it. As far as what I do for myself, I really enjoy, and people who know me, I really enjoy writing. So a lot of times I spend time writing, and that is journaling. I've journaled probably since I was 15 years old. So I enjoy that. That aspect is important for my mind and for my thinking, and that sense of calmness. Uh, what I do a lot of that, everybody has different things that maybe puts them in the zone, and they need to identify that. And for me, I can go in the zone quite easily with cooking or baking.
okay.
So when I'm working in the kitchen, I'm completely relaxed. And it's amazing how many great ideas I get for business
Oh,
while I'm doing those things. And this is something that I had to stress to individuals that I worked with in the corporate world, because people think if I work harder, if I work harder, if I work harder, it's not always working harder. It's working smart, and working smart has to do with knowing that there's some kind of balance you have to have. And I always would tell people when they were at their limit, again, I had 28 offices around the country at one time, nurse managers in every one of those offices.
wow.
And when they would get really tense and upset, I'd say, you know what? I want you to take off. I want you to take 1 or 2 days off. I want you to go away. I want you to put yourself in an environment that's completely different
Yep.
than what you're in, this stressful environment, and just relax and come back to it, because these things will be here when you get back.
True.
And time again, in their situations, in my situations, it was perfect, because it sparks a creative instinct. When you put things out there that you're questioning, you'd be surprised when you hear those answers. You don't hear a lot of times those answers when you're at work and you're working. You hear when you're away from it, and, oh, let me write that down. So that's what I do as far as, and what I recommend to people that are really, crunching and grinding, as they say in business, because a lot of times you need to step away and you're able to see things a lot clearer. As far as staying on top of your game, well, that's always, I'm a big proponent of student first, always having that student mindset when you're looking at things. Like when I go to the conference, I learn something from people at the conference from hour to hour in different situations that I didn't know before. And it just tickles me at this point. But it's so always having that, we're lifelong learners as nurses anyway.
Yeah.
But having that mentality of there's always things to learn, there's always things to do. It's one of the things I really admire about Donna Cardillo. She just took a writing certification course and added that to her background, and I just love all these different things that people do continually, adding to their education, that they can apply their experience to. So, but another thing I really, you brought it up about always getting new ideas and not sure where to focus attention. I think, today's hard. There's so much noise coming to us. I mean, constantly. And if you're online, if you're on your phone, if you're out there looking, I can't remember how many different messages they say that comes across. So it's very hard. And I really have a big heart towards speaking to people about harnessing their focus. And the last chapter of my book is that you need to lead to succeed. So you've got to take your niche or whatever you're working on, whatever your business is, and be the best at it. Get that to that level, knock out the noise. A lot of people have trouble with that. And so they'll try something, Jennifer, they'll maybe try it for a couple months and they're not seeing the result. And instead of tweaking what the first thing was, they jump into something else. Whereas maybe it's the message, maybe it's the price, maybe it's how it's packaged. There's so many different things it could be. So you have to commit to excellence in the area that you're in. And then you can start looking at other areas that maybe you could do some verticals and some expansion to your business or acquisition. So, a lot of nurses out there that want to get into business, buy a business, go to some nurse business owners that maybe have been doing it a long time and are thinking, you know what, have you ever thought about this? There have been multiple nurse business owners over the past 10 years that have approached me about selling their business. And we've worked on different aspects of doing that, promoting it and letting people know and getting, qualified leads and that type of thing. But there's multiple ways to get into business.
Well, very exciting. If I can summarize kind of what you just said, I heard a little bit of like, well, we're going to encourage more nurses to get into their zone, maybe, and finding those ideas that come to them by liking cooking again. So maybe we'll inspire some nurses to enjoy.
I'm not trying to make cooks.
We're gonna try to let them focus on the positive that might come out of having that role of being the chief cook. But I get you. I do love enjoying a great meal, and it's it depends on how many mouths you're trying to feed, I guess, too. But I also agree that slowing things down, but also taking the first steps, not taking yourself too seriously, right? Knowing that it will happen, and you just keep chipping away, have that excellent mindset, always learning. Also be kind of thinking about already what it is, premeditating on maybe what it is that you are interested in, because it will lead you almost down that path, and kind of those answers will come to you, hopefully. So I really just think that's great advice. We all do need to find our zone of being in our own state of mind, and sometimes the silence that we can have, for ourselves will help us learn a lot about, where we need to focus our attention, and maybe to calm down a bit. And but I know myself, I like to stay on top of it, and I get an idea and I kind of pick away at it, and that's what I did starting my business. And I'm still doing that, again, staying connected through the National Nurses in Business, and meeting the colleagues from all over the United States. And some, actually, we have quite a few, from my experience, international attendees that come to that conference as well. And this year it's moved out of Las Vegas for the year and is now in Orlando. So that's exciting to see that move. I do want to thank you for joining us today. And I want you to know how much a pleasure it has been to just talk to you a little bit differently than I have before, because seeing you at the conferences and things, is a little different, and you're so busy trying to talk to everyone and meet everybody that's there. But let's just take a minute and share some helpful information. Again, how can we reach you, or what else do you want to share about NNBA, or anything about yourself? Want to go ahead and do that now before we say goodbye?
Okay, I think the thing I want to talk about the conference a little bit, because it takes a lot to coordinate a conference with these type of acclaimed speakers that we're having at the conference. The speakers prepare and contribute a great deal when they're up there on stage. So I'm very excited about our speakers, our keynote speakers. Demetra Hampton this year, she's going to talk about storytelling to build your business and how vital that is and everything. So we've got everything from from coaching, for understanding digital content and how that can build your business, public health consulting, staffing business. There's a presentation that's going to be given about the limitless possibilities that are out there for nurses today. It's
Yeah,
incredible. It's an incredible time for nursing. So as far as, talking about the NNBA, we all get very excited about the conference and next month in Orlando. So we hope that nurses will join us out there. We're going to take over that hotel. All that information is out on the conference or on the website, nursesbusiness.com. And then, basically the NNBA acts as Nurses Bridge for Business. We have the Nurses Business Training Center that allows nurses to learn in a variety of modules and lessons with PDFs and videos, etc. And we have all these marketing and networking options that are out there. So I hope that nurses that aspire to be in business and nurses that already are in business take a look at what's out there in the store and what's out there as far as membership, as far as the value. We were the first nursing organization to encourage nurses through an independent model, which is an entrepreneurial model. So that's what we're all about as far as the NNBA, and everybody can find out about us out on NNBA or nursesbusiness.com.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And feel free to follow the Life Care Management Institute and learn about the online courses, helpful tools to start, grow, and manage your own healthcare consulting business in the valuable role of a life care manager. Or if you're interested in adding life care management to your current business, go to lcmexpert.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And Michelle, I look forward to seeing you in a very short time in Orlando, Florida.
Very soon, in a few weeks.
Okay. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks again for spending such valuable time with us.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.